All right, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. So obviously, this has been a terrible week for the bodybuilding industry, the fitness community, whatever you want to call it. First, we had the death of Dallas McCarver, who died at the age of 26, a very young and promising bodybuilder. And then, of course, we had the death of, really a fitness icon, Rich Piana. Now, a lot of people loved Rich Piana. A lot of people hated Rich Piana, but really that's what makes an icon in 2017. If you can have an internet presence where you can polarize people to that degree, then you really are an icon, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. When you can polarize people like that, you've done something right. So really losing either one of these two guys is tremendously sad. And no one, I don't think anyone out there, whether they liked Rich or hated Rich, is happy to see this news come out. So the first thing I wanted to touch on is in both of my videos, when I made the video about Dallas and I made the video about Rich, I just kind of announced the fact that they passed away, and I didn't really go into detail as far as the cause of death or some of the rumors surrounding their death. And the reason being is because right now, really all we have is rumors. Now, a lot of people keep referring to TMZ as their source for all the details surrounding these situations. So with Rich Piana, the information that we have from TMZ specifically, and I guess some of this came from his girlfriend, is that Rich Piana had a heart attack. He fell and hit his head, and he was put into a medically induced coma thereafter. Now, some of the other information provided by TMZ said that there was a bunch of bottles of steroids laying around. There was white powder on the table. And that's some of the things that I really think are pure speculation, because TMZ and other websites like that, they like to post sensational stuff that's going to get a lot of hits. And that's why when everybody was requesting that I make a video on Rich Piana's coma, I never made a video about it. So up until this point, I have not talked about the Rich Piana situation. And the reason for that is because I just didn't believe the information out there. I mean, TMZ, whether you want to admit it or not, their information is usually not very reputable. And I didn't know how much of this was actually true. Was Rich Piana doing drugs? Did he simply have a heart attack? I saw some reports that said he simply just fell and hit his head. So I really didn't know what caused the coma, and I didn't really want to go off the information that was just presented by TMZ. So there was really nothing for me to make a video about. Everybody had already known he was in a coma. There was really nothing else that I could add to that story. I didn't know how much of the additional facts could have potentially just been fabricated to get more hits for TMZ. Now, outside of bodybuilding, I don't know how many people have paid attention to the Bachelor in Paradise little fiasco that happened, apparently. And TMZ was one of the websites that reported on that when it was happening. And they reported that there was this crazy, sex scandal that happened with Bachelor in Paradise, and that this DeMario guy essentially raped Corinne, the girl. And it turned out that the information they were putting out there was basically completely false and completely not accurate. They were saying that he dragged her limp body outside of the pool and then had sex with her while she was 100% unconscious. And this is the story that they put out on these pretty much official news websites like TMZ, and TMZ was one of them. And all this information turned out to be completely not even accurate. So that's why when you read a story on TMZ, you've got to take everything they say with a grain of salt, and you can't really believe everything they say. And the same can be said for the Dallas McCarver story. So I'll let you guys Google the Dallas McCarver situation on your own. If you Google Dallas McCarver TMZ, Dallas McCarver 911 call, there was a more recent updated article where they have the 911 call with Josh Nardowitz talking to the dispatcher, and I believe also talking to the paramedics. And somewhere in those articles, they mention insulin use as being one of the things that was discussed in the 911 call, or one of the things discussed with the EMTs. And that's why I didn't cover Dallas McCarver's cause of death in my video. So the official report put out by Redcon 1, and that is pretty much the most official that I would think you could get. I mean, these guys sponsored Dallas. They were very, very close to Dallas, and you would think they wouldn't be putting out misinformation. So their official report was that the cause of death was that Dallas McCarver simply choked on his food. Josh Nardowitz tried to resuscitate him, remove the food that was blocking his passage, and he was just unsuccessful, and that's how Dallas McCarver passed away. Now, some of these other reports that I'm seeing, again, they mention insulin use. Some mention that he had a heart attack and then choked. So he had a heart attack while he was eating and then choked on his food. And then some other reports say he just simply choked. So there's too many different conflicting stories out there for me to actually say what I believe was the cause of death. So that's why in both of my videos, I basically just kind of announced the death and didn't really go into detail, because really we're going to have to wait for the autopsy on both of these guys to really know the entire story on what happened for sure. Everything else is really just speculation. So what does this really mean for the sport of bodybuilding in general? These two deaths happening on the same week. I've seen a lot of people in the comment section saying this is like a red flag. We all need to pay attention here. And this is kind of a sign for the bodybuilding world to slow down on the drug use and to not focus so much on size. But really, like I said, I think they're kind of jumping the gun on that assumption because really we don't know how big of a factor, if any, steroids played into either one of these two deaths. Now, we could probably assume a little bit with a higher degree of confidence that steroids had something to do or played some kind of factor in what happened to Rich Piana. I mean, we know he lived a lifestyle that was dangerous. He lived on the edge, and he did a lot of things and combined with his steroid use that could exacerbate a heart condition or create a heart problem. And Rich Piana was in the age range, 47. I mean, that's pretty much the heart attack prime right there. A lot of people in their 40s and 50s have heart attacks. It's not uncommon at all. So he was really in that risk range combined with his other lifestyle choices. But Dallas McCarver, this is a 26-year-old man. We really don't know what happened to him. So I think jumping the gun and saying, Dallas McCarver's death was because of steroids and this is a red flag to bodybuilders that they should slow down and not focus on so much size. We're really jumping the gun on that. I think we really don't have any idea what really happened to Dallas, and only time will tell, and only the autopsies will show for sure. So what's the takeaway from all this? So I think the main takeaway should be, man, life is short. We need to focus on not being so dramatic, because like with Rich Piana, you've got to consider the factors that were leading into this, man. I mean, the whole racist tapes thing, again, I never made a single video about the Rich Piana racist tapes. There are a lot of people that made tons of videos on it. And again, I got sent an email from the same person that sent these tapes out to everybody else wanting me to make a video about it. And I just deleted the email and didn't even reply. I didn't even consider making the video. So you got to consider, I mean, if this really was some situation where Rich Piana was sitting around doing drugs, they said, again, TMZ said there was white powder on the table. You got to consider the possibility that maybe, all this drama on social media kind of pushed Rich towards this direction and could have contributed towards, kind of a downward spiral of drug use. So at the end of the day, you got to consider, I mean, even though social media and YouTube, it kind of seems like it's not the real world, it's not real life, it sometimes does have real world implications. And you got to consider the fact that maybe some of these guys that are on the level that Rich Piana is on, maybe these things really do get to him, and really he doesn't show it in his videos, but maybe all these, having so many people talk about him, so many people interact with him, whether it's positive or negative. I mean, I'm sure the troll comments that he gets, I've seen the funny ones, but I'm sure the negative ones, he probably gets some very, very extremely brutal troll comments on his videos. When the racist tapes came out, everybody and their mom was talking about it. When the whole situation with Mack Truck happened, everybody and their mom was talking about it. You got to wonder if some of these things contributed to maybe a downward spiral of him doing drugs or leading to his untimely death. And the same thing with Dallas, man. I think there was definitely a lot of people talking shit about Dallas, criticizing Dallas, making fun of him, saying he was getting too big too fast, and a lot of people just saying negative things about him. So I think the takeaway should be, man, life is short. This internet drama is so overrated, man. It's just not necessary, and you never know the impact that it might really be having on someone. I mean, and that's why I said in my video, I did a video on Rich Piana where I basically went through his bodybuilding history, his contest history with the NPC, and then, kind of gave a review of his physique like I would do with any other bodybuilder. And Rich Piana took offense to some of the things I was saying in that video. Apparently, he didn't like my criticism of his arms, which, again, it wasn't me hating on the guy. It was me just levying a fair criticism like I would do with any other bodybuilder. I make these reviews on, pretty much everybody. I give my opinions on their different body parts, on their physique. And I just said, basically, I don't like the way that his arms look and the front double bicep. He doesn't hit it anymore because I think it doesn't look good anymore. And apparently, he took offense to that. So I made a follow-up video to let Rich know I didn't mean anything personal by it. I wasn't trying to make fun of him. I was trying to make a video, the same type of video I'd make about any other bodybuilder, and I was trying to be respectful with it. So again, the takeaway should be just try to be more respectful online. And this is one of the things I wanted to mention. In the Dallas McCarver video, I said, I'm going to block anybody that comments something negative about Dallas in the comment section of this video because this needs to be a respectful comment section. And some people got mad about that and said I shouldn't be censoring comments and I should let people talk and give their opinions. So I was like, okay, for the Rich Piana video, I'll leave the comment section wide open. I'll let people comment whatever they want. And you guys can see some of the hateful, evil people that are out there on the internet. Because if you go read the comments on that video, and you'll see why for the Dallas video, I said I'm going to block any negativity. You guys would assume on a video, talking about somebody that just died, there wouldn't be any disrespectful comments. But go look at the Rich Piana video and read some of the shitbags that commented that video. So when I was blocking comments on the Dallas McCarver video, it wasn't me blocking people that I disagreed with or blocking people who I didn't like their opinion. It was me blocking people that were spewing pure hatred. I mean, I showed you guys some screenshots on my Instagram story. I posted it up. People were saying, I'm glad he died. I hope he burns in hell. He deserved it. I mean, this is the kind of hateful shit that I was seeing on the Dallas McCarver video, and he wasn't even really a controversial, polarizing figure. So go look at the Rich Piana video and read some of the shit that you can see on there about Rich Piana. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous and sickening, but I think it needs to be seen what is out there on the internet. There's a lot of hate and just pure, just despicable people out there. So I think this should be part of the takeaway. You got to consider these things. Rich Piana, I guarantee he saw these comments. He might not act like he did. He might not address them in videos, but I guarantee he read some of these hateful comments on his own videos, and I guarantee it affected him personally in some way or another. So I hope you guys, can get through this week. I hope you guys are doing all right. I hope, everything turns out okay with the autopsies. I hope it's nothing crazy, nothing controversial. And I hope everybody's families can get through this tough time. And I think the takeaway, like I said, should really just be life is short. We should be kinder to each other. We should really consider other people's feelings, whether it's the internet or not. People talk about, oh, it's the internet, it's not a safe space. We don't need to have these safe spaces for snowflakes and all this nonsense. But you got to wonder, man, you really do have to wonder if someone got to a level of fame like Rich Piana had, just the sheer volume and amount of negative comments that he had to see on a daily basis. You've got to wonder if that contributed to any sort of downward spiral. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Nick Strength and Power, signing out.